This week we're off to Africa and we're going to Ethiopia, just north of the town of Yirgacheffe, to a cooperative called Aramo. So this is from a mill called Aramo, which is based to the northeast of the town of Yirgacheffe, somewhere that when I visited I absolutely loved the feeling of the place. It's an incredibly small village but incredibly important in the world of coffee. The coffees from there tend to have a very typical profile. So the washed coffees tend to be very black tea, very kind of lemon-like, lots of citrus notes, and the naturals tend to be much more fruitier, funkier, kind of a little bit of blueberry, blackberry, that kind of thing. And this week's is no different as one of the washed ones. The mill has around about 700 people who deliver to it. And the typical kind of land size for people who would deliver there is around about 2 hectares. So very, very small holders, some having as few as 200, 300 plants. And they will just harvest them as you would from the garden and take them along to the washing station. And at the washing station, that's where they end up doing all of the hard work to make the coffee good, because some picking will be good, some picking will be not so good. So how does it differ from, say, somebody like Israel, who owns his farms and washing stations, as opposed to a cooperative who owns farms and washing stations? Well, the washing station is the important part, but it's only important if you really, really want the quality pickings to come in. So if you have a washing station that's owned by a cooperative, you will have people there literally going, no, that's rejected, that can go into that one. And you will have different hoppers that they're delivered to. As opposed to a private farmer who may own their own washing station, they will actually pay their pickers a little bit more money to make sure that they pick the right cherries. So there's less sorting to be done at the washing station. Now, there's no real benefits from one or the other, because Ethiopian coffee is so diverse. You end up having lots of different kind of coffees and different buyers coming for those coffees. So sometimes the coffee, if it's poorer quality, actually isn't so important to some buyers. They're really just looking on a price and on volume. Then you've got people like me coming along that really mess it up, that want quality, but we end up having to pay a little bit more for that quality. So there's pluses and minuses of working with a cooperative and a producer. Personal preference, I tend to like working with the producers, because with a single person, there's a little bit more accountability, there's a little bit more of a relationship, and there's a little bit more trust. That means we can work together a lot closer and feedback a lot more. So if something goes well, you know, it's great to give positive feedback, and if things don't go so well, you've got somebody you can speak to about trying to address that. And now it's time for Roland's Daft Fact of the Week.
So here we are on the wobble cam, and we're here to try and find a Roland glue in its natural habitat. Come with us. I think I've spotted him. We have to be careful not to startle him. A startled Roland is not a friendly Roland. Hello, Roland, are you busy? Oh, he's startled. Oh dear. Oh. Do you have a fact about Ethiopia for us, Roland?
I do, Steve. Do you know that the current capital of Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, was founded in 1887 and means new flower?
It's a fact.
Amazing fact. Who knew that Addis Ababa was called that? Anyway, I'm sure he used the Google machine for it. So we're going to make the coffee. I am making a Chemex. I have gone for 32 grams of coffee. I'm going to use 500 grams of water. I'm using a scale as always. If you were brewing at home, you should always use a scale. It is definitely the best way. And through the magic of filming, because I can't multitask, this is going to be sped up a little bit, but I'm adding 125 grams of water. I'm going to add, after 45 seconds, another 125 grams of water, After a minute and a half, 125 grams of water, and after 2 minutes, hopefully getting the brew through in around about 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, so we have some brew, we have some coffee to drink. Time to go into the cupboard and see what comes out mug-wise. But it's quite fitting, I've got a Chemex mug with a Chemex. That's okay, that works. So we're going to introduce something new this week, which is called Rate My Brew. And basically, if you send in a photo on Instagram with the hashtag #hasbeen, I will randomly go through them and select one. This week we've got Brewed Coffee Addict, who is a supporter, and also I know an In My Mug viewer, so I'm hoping that you get to see this. So this is a picture of a bag of coffee in the grass, and I kind of liked it because spring and summer is here, and it made me feel happy. So Brew Addict, you're going to get a 8.5 mugs out of 10 for your photo. So please send in your submissions, hashtag #hasbeen, we'll pick out one on there and we'll talk about it on the In My Mug. If you actually mention In My Mug in the photo in some way or have your In My Mug subscription, you are much more likely to get on, just to give you that tip. So let's get into the coffee. So as I mentioned at the very start of this filming, Ethiopians for me have two very typical profiles. The natural profile, which is that blueberry, kind of fruity, juicy, big, bold coffee. And then you've got the washed. This is a perfect example of that washed coffee. So you've got the lemon, the citrus, a little bit of Earl Grey in there, finishes off with some beautiful black tea. Roland, can you step a bit quieter, please? It's not your daft fact now. No. See, he's desperate junk. This is what happens. You give him a little bit of camera, and that's what he does. Anyway, I am enjoying this coffee very much, and I hope you are at home too. Please send in your photos for Rate My Brew at hashtag #hasbeen on Instagram. We'll find you, and hopefully your photo will be used here. Thank you for joining me. It's a pleasure as always, and do remember, life is too short for bad coffee. You should try this, by the way, it's lovely.